Welcome back to Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Have you ever thought about embracing your imperfections, become your authentic self? That is exactly what I want to talk to our next guest, Michael Thompson, all about. I know growing up, Michael allowed his shyness, severe stutter, and crippling social anxiety to dominate his internal dialogue and undermine hopes and dreams. And he has written the book, quite literally. It's called Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out. And Michael right now is a career coach, a lecturer in Barcelona, Spain at the EAE Business School, and a strategic communications advisor to top business leaders worldwide. Again, the book is Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out. And the author is Michael Thompson. Michael, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, Michael. This is an inspiration, and I have to ask what your inspiration is. What inspired you to write this book?
Basically, I grew up shy and stuttering, and my two young kids are both shy, and they both stutter. So after I've been coaching, working with students at universities, working with executive types on their books, on their thought leadership strategy. And it struck me as like the right time to kind of like tell the story of my first mountain and to kind of have a book for my kids to open up when they're of age and realize that they're already cool just as they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Michael, how did your upbringing impact your confidence, and what inspired you to pursue a job in sales as someone who is shy and stutters? Wow.
So I grew up my dad was in the Air Force, and I was surrounded by more confident personas. I was more sensitive, shy, quiet, and the stutter didn't help me to kind of have a tough guy persona. So that really impacted the stories I told myself about my worth. I thought I wasn't strong enough, smart enough, fast enough, cool enough. And kind of at the age of 23, all of my friends were getting jobs out of college and I was sitting around. I was bar backing. And I had this idea of taking a sales job as kind of like my Mount Everest. And I took the job just with the thought I would last for 90 days, learn how to put myself up against the wall, and then have some stories to tell about it afterwards. And it turned out that around the 90-day mark, I found my footing in the job, realized that I would never win if I was going to try to play the game of the extroverts. And I embraced my own strengths for what felt like the first time in my life of being an observer, being a good listener, wanting the best for my clients. And I quickly learned that there's a lot of people who do like the more talkative, outgoing salesperson, but there's just as many people who like the shy, quiet, reserved one. So it was a very interesting, defining time in my life that opened my eyes to the fact that, hey, I have some qualities that I've probably hidden because of the fear, because of being picked on as a kid. And the sales job brought those qualities to the light, and I began to stand more comfortably in my own skin.
Well, we chat on this program all about, growing your network and meeting new people. So what are some tips that you wish you ignored when meeting new people and growing your network?
Just if I could rename my book today, I'd probably say that everything I learned growing up about building relationships was wrong. Just for the fact that I go about things like the more quiet route. There's definitely a time and place where you need to have a more commanding presence. But when meeting new people in most of our day-to-day interactions, leading with warmth and comfort is just as effective, if not more effective, than going in with a more confident aura around you. So one thing I like to do is I like to make my first impressions pretty quick. So it kind of takes when you're approaching somebody, their guard's going up automatically. Is this person a threat? Is this person going to slow me down from the rest of my day? And one little tip is just to make it clear right up front that you're not going to take a lot of people's time. So I'll say something along the lines of, I got a meet my wife in 5 minutes. Got a quick question about the book you're reading. Automatically, that little line of, hey, like, I'm going to be out of your hair soon, relaxes people. And also the beauty of it too is if you're talking to someone, like, and things do begin to go south, you have an excuse to leave. Like, you have to meet your wife in a few minutes. So it's just these small things that are just kind of, just quick hits to get your confidence going. And as a more reserved, introverted person, I lead into a thoughtful follow-up. So if they mention something in the conversation about like X book that they're reading, a challenge that they're facing, I'll follow up with them in a way that demonstrates I was listening and I care.
Absolutely. Again, I'm chatting with the author of Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out. That's Michael Thompson. Michael, we're going to cut to a break in just a minute. See, I'm following your advice over here. And I have to ask, just before we cut to break, how would you define the art of conversation?
So I define it as creating the conditions for people to reveal themselves to you. And from my experience, that becomes a lot easier if you first reveal a little bit about yourself. So in the example previously of like mentioning, I have to meet my wife in a couple of minutes. I got to grab my kids from school. I grew up stuttering and now I write career advice. I'd love to ask you a question about X, Y, and Z. Generally, just dropping that little bit of information about myself will open up the floodgates for other people to talk about themselves.
Absolutely. Again, Michael, really enjoying this conversation. Appreciate your inspiration that you're providing and you sharing your story so confidently. The book is Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out. We'll continue our conversation in just a moment. Don't touch that dial. Hey, we're back on Get Down to Business, the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. As always, you can get on my website, syklein.com. That's where we link to all of the guests we've had on the program today and every episode over the past 11 years. Again, SY Klein or your favorite podcast app. So I'm chatting with Michael Thompson. He's a career coach, lecturer at the EAE Business School in Barcelona, Spain, and a strategic communication advisor to top business leaders worldwide. He's also the author of Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out. Michael, really enjoying the conversation. And I am curious, what exercises would you recommend to help us build our confidence and act with boldness in the moments that matter?
So one thing that I do is I'll watch my language here, but I've been collecting a holy crap jar for the last couple of years of basically anytime I do something that makes me say to myself, holy crap, or some other phrase. And just that collection process of marking down the times that, like, instead of seeking outside validation, writing down the times that, like, I'm essentially validating my own actions. And that collection, I have it in a green glass jar, like you see typically in Spain, where I can see all of the installments. And if I'm feeling shaky, I'll grab a couple of the cards out of it and just review the things I've already done, realize how far I've already come. Like most people, if we're alive today, like we've gone through a decent amount of challenges, we've overcome adversity. And just those reminders of going back through those can do a world of good and can push you forward in the moments when you are feeling a little shaky. Yeah,
absolutely. That's really, really practical and relevant to all of our listeners, entrepreneurs and business owners. This is really awesome. So in your book, you share an interesting recipe to keep your relationships tight that doesn't involve a lot of time. Can you tell us more a little bit about that?
Yeah. So what I like to do is, like, I read once a couple of years back in the New York Times that relationships that last stay in contact about every 15 days. Like, and this doesn't have to be a big lift, hour-long conversation or a dinner party. It can be just quick voice notes, quick emails, quick messages on LinkedIn, whatever your preferred platform or medium. And what I do is each day, like, I essentially, on Mondays, I'll send like a message out to somebody who I used to work with just to say, hey, how are you doing? Is Bob still annoying you in like accounts receivable department? On Tuesdays, I'll reach out to somebody I recently met and like ask a quick follow-up question about our conversation. On Wednesdays, I'll reach out to a young up-and-comer, and so on and so forth. And I like email, and I like voice messages and email just for the fact that people complain about it, but they have it open all day. So these quick little emails, and generally an inbox is full of requests asking for your time and requests asking for your money. So any of those little small things that can break up somebody's day and just give a quick upbeat interaction, like in anything saying, hey, I saw this and I thought of you. It takes me 4 minutes a day, and that little thing keeps the conversation going. So maybe if I do have a larger ask in the future, it's not a weird thing that I'm reaching out of the blue.
I love it. Michael, I could talk to you for hours, my friend, and I appreciate your sharing so much. The book is Shy by Design, 12 Timeless Principles to Quietly Stand Out. And I know it's a couple of months old, but I want to make sure our listeners can get in touch with you and find the book. How can they do that?
The best place to reach out to me is on my website. It's michaelthompson.art, like artist. And I am most active on LinkedIn at Michael Ryan Thompson, and on Substack, where I have a publication called Shy by Design, the same name as the book.
Perfect. Michael Thompson, thanks so much for joining us. And that's a wrap for us this week on Get Down to Business. We've had some great conversations today. All of our guests can be reached through the show notes. We've got all sorts of great information on your favorite podcast app. To success, let's get down to business.